in my entrepreneurial days, there's one, my very first entrepreneurial stint after moving back from the US was actually something I did with my wife, Amitha.
Seriously?
Yes.
What was that?
It was this company called Visual Reality, where we were training people for multimedia.
Okay.
And she was helping me in that.
You guys are already married then, huh?
Yeah, of course. I moved back from the US, right?
Okay.
And that was, again, one of my best decisions in life, true,
Yeah.
to come back to Bangalore. But, so Amita really kind of was my first co-founder, so to speak, in my first venture, which then became a creative studio.
Okay.
And that's where I learned a lot about dealing with creative people and working with creative people. So learned a lot of that business.
And she was the creative.
No, she was
energy.
more operational.
Okay.
She ran the my Amita is great with money, and I'm a little bit loose with money.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So she's just very good in making sure that things are tight and things work. But later on, she of course moved to the education field, and that was her calling, that she wanted to do something in the Montessori early childhood learning space. There I kind of helped her get started with the old Montessori schools, and now she owns about 4-5 schools in Bangalore. But that has been also an interesting journey for me, understanding the school and the education ecosystem. But she's been very supportive in every, like I said, from my very first startup that I did in India to me doing these crazy number of things on a day-to-day basis.
In fact, I may be digressing, but having a partner, a wife, a spouse who is able to, because you spend so much time traveling, doing so many things. How difficult or easy is it, and how do you make that happen?
You need a lot of support from your spouse, and Amita has given me that support. And
do you want to elaborate a little?
Yeah,
What kind of support are you talking about?
I think the support is, of course, on one dimension, putting up with my travel and putting up with a lot of time that I spend away from home. The second kind of support is that there have been really times in my entrepreneurial journey where a more straightforward financial path for me would have maybe just been less painful for the whole family, right?
Okay.
So during those times, I think her intervention in financially supporting me, and also uh, uh, kind of being okay with putting up with the stress of what we had to go through as entrepreneur during my entrepreneurial ventures were huge for me. If I can imagine, if that was stressful at home, there's no way I could have handled that situation in a startup kind of environment, because at the time when I did my first startup here in India, I was already married, right? So I already had a kid. So it was a switch where I had to kind of meet expectations at home and also do this startup, and with no venture funding and with no other support in the early days. So I think huge support from Amita, and I think just the her openness to me experimenting and doing all these multitude of other things that I do, is because she's sometimes involved in it, and is like when it comes to philanthropy, she has started to kind of get very involved and take forward a lot of initiatives that I initially might have started, right? So it's been a good partnership that way in times when I really needed an anchor and somebody who could support.
For stories like this, keep following us. From Code to Culture, our podcast. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media.